Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Our guest today is, he's had a pretty epic life, let's put it that way. Truly a man of many hats. From being the top-selling electronic music DJ in both Taiwan and China, to owning some of the top clubs in Asia, as well as an expert, top of his game with VVIP experiences. We're going to get into all of that stuff, as well as some other stuff that he's got going on. This dude's got so much stuff happening. It's kind of hard to wrap our arms around all of it. But we're going to dive in as much as we can, so give it up for my friend Chozie Ma.
My name is Brian Shinborn. I'm an explorer of people, places, and culture. In my travels, spanning over 20 countries across 4 continents, I've had the pleasure of engaging in authentic conversations with amazingly interesting people. These are their stories, on location and unfiltered. Presented by 8B Media, this is Half the City.
What's up? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here in LA.
Dude, I'm so happy to see you, man. It's been a minute, man.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, guys, I know. First, let me take it back. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, so we're going mono today. We're improvising, adapting, and overcoming. One of my dongles for my mics broke, so we've got one mic instead of 2. No big deal. We just fucking roll with it, right? So you might be hearing some background noise and stuff like that, some cars going by or whatever here and there. We're actually on location in Venice Beach, California. We're actually 100 yards from the beach.
You can see the beach.
You can see the beach from here.
It's sweet.
We're right here. Chozie's in LA for business. It just so happened. It just so happened that Chozie saw one of the first episodes out, and I'm like, dude, I haven't talked to this guy in like a year, and he's like, yo, fucking A, he liked it on my WeChat, the Chinese social media, Chinese Facebook, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, dude, let's do this. Yeah. And he's like, yeah. And then he messages me, he's like, yo, I'm in Venice doing something. I'm like, dude, I'm in LA. Let's get together. You know, the whole concept of the show anyways is, you know, I'm talking to people all over the world with amazingly interesting stories and on location, right? So we're chilling in his place here, his studio here in Venice Beach. You can hear somebody doing some construction work behind us in the background. All good. No, it's all good. I don't even care, man. It's the content. You know what I mean? It's the authenticity of it. But I've known Chozie for 4 years?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
3-4 years, something like that.
Yeah. Beijing.
Yeah, from Beijing, baby. I've known Chozie since my time in Beijing. And if you guys have been listening, you know, I spent, 4 years there doing some stuff of my own. But Chozie, I mean, you look Chinese, but your English is so good, dude. Like, tell him, like...
Yeah, so I'm Chozie. Okay, so it stands for Chinese Aussie. So my father's Chinese, my mom's Aussie. Mm-hmm. Grew up in Sydney, graduated there, then made the move over to the mainland, back to the roots in 98.
98?
Yeah.
Dude, so you're hitting what, your 22nd year?
22nd year,
My
yeah.
God,
yeah,
man.
It's 0 to hero.
For real, like, I can't even imagine, like, the changes.
Yeah.
So... If you've never been to China, you've never been to Beijing or any of the other major cities, ever since the who was it? Who was Deng Xiaoping?
Yeah.
When Deng Xiaoping started opening up the country, you know, it was closed off for years, decades, right? It was just its own nationalist, no access, in or out type country. And around the time of Deng Xiaoping, who was the leader of the Chinese party. Back in the time with Nixon, I think. Richard Nixon, the American president.
It was like Kissinger. I think he was
coming out. He came out to make the diplomat.
To make the foreign relations transition.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
Right.
But they started opening up. It was the great opening. So this was like 30, 40 years ago. And since then, the growth in China has been explosive.
Yeah, donkeys and carts to Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
Just like
it's
that.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And like, so you see these areas like in Beijing, for example, where there's been so much growth that, you know, in one block you'll see these one-story, they're called hutongs. There's like one-story buildings that are anywhere between 600 and 1,000 years old. Really cool spots, really history, cool. Culture, all that good stuff. But a block away, you'll see these skyscrapers with like neon lights that light up all night, just like super like, I don't know, you think like...
concrete jungle,
but like to the extreme.
Yeah.
Like super,
weird
super
designs,
modern.
like the buildings that hang over things,
the pants
structures. I don't know, it's just, very weird architecture. Mm-hmm. But cool. You got the old and the new in one setting. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of weird though. Like I feel like you know, in my time there, one of the things that I noticed was like, as modern as they become so quickly, as global as they've become so quickly, from a technology, that kind of standpoint, money standpoint, I feel like there's still a transitioning period in terms of maybe mentality, stuff like that. Like, you know, for example, you know, not good or bad. Like a lot of the stuff I talk about are constructs, right? Like nothing is good, nothing is bad. It's just kind of what it is. But like you still see people like on the sidewalks of Beijing that maybe do things that one culture might be like, whoa, like what's going on? Like your jaw's dropping, that sort of thing. I'm not getting into that here, but I get into it on my other show, Relentless, which is coming out, starting to come out in another month or two.
Right.
But there are things that might make your jaw drop, right? Where you're just like, whoa, but it's because it's so far removed from what you're used to with your culture and your constructs.
Yeah.
You know? But I just think it's interesting. You know, things are happening, things are changing, whatever.
Well, you gotta. I mean, that's the whole point of travel, right? You want your jaw to drop,
right?
Good or bad.
That's the thing, right?
You're gonna go somewhere and be like, "Fuck, did you see that?" Or "Wow, look at that." You know, it's just part of the whole cultural experience.
Absolutely.
And especially taking your kids out there and seeing it and just saying, you know, open your mind. This is the world. Don't be like closed off into one bubble.
Absolutely,
right?
man.
Explore, travel.
Dude, absolutely. Like I'll never forget the first time I came back to America when I moved to Beijing. I grew up in a small town in Michigan, right? And so I went back and I bumped into this lady that I knew from a very young age. And she goes, "Oh, Brian," she's like, "what are you up to these days? What are you doing?" And I go, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm living in China right now. I'm living in Beijing." And she looks at me, she's like, "China? China? Brian, I'm so scared for you. Are you safe? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's communist, Brian. All this stuff." And I look at her husband's standing right there, and I look at her, I go, "Actually, it's pretty amazing country. I mean, it's super safe, feels safe. You know,
safe.
People are welcoming. You know, if you take a stab at learning their language, that goes miles.
Yeah.
You know, it goes such a long way. You know, it's a good time." And then her husband's like, "Honey, you know, I was stationed in Japan in the Navy, right?" He's like, "I bet he's having the time of his life." It's like, "I know I did."
I thought he was going to say, "Oh, honey, I have a Japanese wife."
maybe
we have a half son now coming. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, those things can happen.
Yeah.
No, China's great. I mean, it's 22 years, as you said, and you know, I've seen it go from, you know, really, like I would say it wasn't really colorful when I was there, but it was exciting because. I got there in '97 on a tour, and it was the last stop on an Asian tour. And we were in this club called Vogue 88. Henry Lee was the owner, and he basically just said, "Why don't you move out here and take over my club?" I was like 19 years old or something like that. I had a crew called Yum Cha Cha, so there was 5 of us. We went back to Australia. We all looked at each other and said, "Why not?
Fuck it.
We're young. We can't speak the language. I mean, I'm Chinese, but I spoke Cantonese when I was growing up.
Okay.
So when you move to China, it's Mandarin, right? And my Cantonese was like non-existent there, so it didn't really work.
I mean, they're completely different languages.
Totally different languages.
Yeah.
So kind of we're like, you know what? Let's just give this a go. The crowd seemed quite international, and it was like, you know, there wasn't that many foreigners there then, but every foreigner that was there was working for the embassy or some kind of corporate job,
right?
Or students.
Yep.
And we were like, you know what? Let's do it. So we went. We moved 3 months later. We packed our things, moved. Mum and Dad laughed. Dad's the Chinese that, you know, he's from that generation that left China back in the day to give a better life to, you know, myself and himself. So they
like,
thought,
what is this six dad joke?
Yeah, no, he'll be back. So they kept my car for about 5 years and then realized it's been 5 years. Your car's wasting space in the garage. Can we sell it? Like, yeah, go ahead, man. I'm settled here. So it's kind of funny because that generation, a lot of the kids, ABCs, American-born Chinese, Australian-born Chinese, Canadian-born Chinese, like as they graduated and got older, they started seeing opportunity in China and went back. And those times from like 99 all the way to, you know, the Olympics was just like this epic
the 2008 Olympics.
2008 Olympics, and it was just this epic journey of like, wow, and you could just use it as your oyster and do whatever you wanted if you had some creativity, and especially if you had something culturally valuable for the scene, the dance scene or entertainment or like, you know, anything related to culture and heritage, or bringing investment into China, bring foreign brands into China.
Yep.
You just kill it.
Yeah.
Right. So we were doing really well. I decided to go into the entertainment space, do clubs, music, things like that, and develop that market, which has become one, like, I look at it as probably one of the biggest in the world now. If you look at every DJ, they're all trying to go. Every Western artist is trying to collaborate with an Asian artist.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so that's there's volume, right? With volume comes money, monetizing products, things like that. There's a lot of tricky things that go on in the market, but if you can maneuver through it.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that you just got to know about going to China is a lot of foreigners move there. They're still very hard-headed. Well, how would you call it?
They're set in their ways.
They're set in their ways.
Yeah, because they've lived in that bubble of
Right.
whatever their culture is, and they expect everywhere to be just like that, or cater to them, or
so
whatever it is.
it's like, you know, maybe they have a good brand or a company, or they've been bought out by a big expat company and getting that package that they didn't get somewhere else.
Yep.
The thing is, China's not going to change for you.
No.
You got to change for China.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
So-
a hard lesson to learn,
It
man.
is.
I tell you what, like because I think about, like I did a couple of, I did some business in China myself. One thing I did, for example, was I produced this soccer match, right, between Manchester United legends and Liverpool legends. So these guys are 35 and up, recently
Big
retired.
game, I remember that.
Big game,
Yeah.
right? We put that on in we put on a five-a-side tournament in Adelaide, and then an 11-a-side friendly in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And then we live streamed that into China and Europe and other places. And we worked with Tencent, which is one of the biggest.
Yeah.
Like, they're bigger than Facebook, guys. Like, Tencent's huge.
$1 trillion company.
Yeah, they're one of the big 3 tech companies in China. But we live streamed through them. Great, big reception. They're like, oh, this is one of the best live streams we've ever had as far as quality and all that stuff. Awesome, can't wait to work with you more. So then I take that information. I'm like, all right, these guys want to get into China, right? These players want to play a match in China. I get something set up where we're getting ready to do a deal in Shenzhen, or near Shenzhen. I forget the name of it. I kind of blocked it out because it's a bad experience. But in a city right next to Shenzhen, which is one of the, this is the tech hub, one of the big tech hubs, right? Like, that's where Apple products are made and stuff like that. It's right across the tributary from Hong Kong.
Right.
And I went down there, and we were going to put on this match. It was going to be great. Met up with this guy 4 different times. Flew down there, met up with him 4 different times. He puts me up in his hotel that he owns. This guy's a big businessman. We're drinking like crazy because that's an important part of Chinese culture, right?
Oh, yeah. By the way, a lot of people think Chinese country.
Oh, no, that's not true.
Because they get the Asian glow or whatever.
Oh, no.
No. The ones that are born there, and especially Beijingers and the girls.
Yeah.
Wow. Try drinking a session with them with Chinese rice wine.
Dude,
I'll put you under that table.
Oh my
so
god,
hard.
dude! But that's the whole point, right? Like, part of building relationships in China is all about. It's called guanxi, right? It's actually, it means relationships or face or whatever, and it's Chinese people would rather do business with people that they've got a strong relationship with versus
Or they've put them under the
transactional.
table and made them vomit, and then they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
you
because
can
then they're
hang.
like, yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly it. And that's how you build it a lot of times. You sit on these, you sit at these plastic chairs and tables outside a restaurant, eating 20 cents a stick barbecue kebabs, char, drinking cheap beer. Out comes the baijiu at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, is rice wine, and which is like 40 to 60% alcohol. Like, it's unregulated, so it could be anywhere between there.
All the way up to 6. Yeah, 60.
It's just,
yeah, definitely.
Right?
Strong.
It's just shot after shot after shot after shot. There's no time wasted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm glad I've got my mum's liver. Oh, well, I say I've got the western side liver. Yeah, because I'm half. So that's helped me a lot drinking in China.
but so I'm doing that whole thing with this guy, big businessman. He's got connections to the stadium and the local government and like all the things, checking off all the boxes that you really need to do to conduct business in China. And we get to the point where we sign the contract. He's got to give us the 10% down within a week or 10 days or something like that. We could secure the players, sign the contract. Dude never shows up, never disappears. No money sent, not responding to anything. And it's like, that was one of the hard lessons I learned about doing business in China, is that by Western standards, or at least American standards, I'm sure Aussie's not too different, but like, you get that contract signed, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas in China, it's a different set of rules.
Yeah, I've definitely gone down that route many times. but it's that same saying, you know, you get knocked down, get up again. I'm already situated there. My house is there. My friends are there. Business is there. I've just learned over the years how to maneuver through it, and I've definitely lost investment and time. Time is the most important thing for me. And you know, it sucks, but you just got to kind of learn how to be better than that. But I tell you, over the last couple of years, the whole IP and legal system and protection for that it's really good.
Oh, dude, it's gotten a lot better over the last few years.
They just really, they've smartened up, and it's like, this is business, get it done. The shitty part is like when you are pitching for a job, like in one of my businesses, which is the event business, obviously a lot of proposal work needs to be done. So a lot of these companies or clients have different departments. They have procurement departments, and they're very traditional. So you might have a full Western team, say, for example, in Volkswagen or something like that, in a big Western company. So when you meet with them and you get the job, you're talking to obviously the more Western-minded CEO and things like that. So they love your technology, they love that you're Western and Chinese, and they love that you get the concept. Boom, okay, I'm going to launch this, and you're going to do this and that. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to do all that for you, and I'm going to do that for you. And then it trickles down through the system to procurement. And procurement, they usually bring in, because it's kind of, I think it's legal when you have it's the law that you have to have a local Chinese as your finance department to head that department, to sign the bills. And that person is trained in a way where their job is to save money for the company at all costs. Save money, which means, no, I don't understand that concept. Why does it cost that much? Because I can go online and look for it. Or I can go to 5 other companies and they say it costs this much. Because other companies are trying to take your idea, or they're faking the tech or something like that. And they're smaller companies. So you get into these things where it's like, no, the budget's low, and then this. A few months later, it goes back to the big boss, and they call you, hey, why have they changed the company, or why are you not doing the job? You know, your procurement said that this was way too expensive, and it's like, but I approved it, and then it goes back again. So most companies will have like a second budget because of that fuck up.
Right.
So they kind of like, the contingency, they know that that's going to happen. So that's a little bit tiring, but it is getting better. What I found is when we were doing all the proposals, we're a smaller boutique team. So we spent a lot of time, and, you know, proposals to that magnitude, they're 3D, they're renders, they're videos, they cost you about, you know, $20,000 to make a good, decent proposal, but you're getting $1 million job or $2 million job at the end of it.
So it's a modest investment.
It makes sense, but you don't know that's gonna, why they keep asking you to change it. Because someone's uncle has an event company that's a uncle,
it's the Guanxi all over
that
again,
person, right? So you're kind of like, shit. Then your event pops up with all your ideas, and you're like, that was my idea. You know, this is what I went through years ago.
It still happens.
It still happens, but we just, instead of going for it, my partner and I just said, you know what? Let's just deal with the ones that put a designer fee down. So put that, basically that 10% down before. And then if we get the job, we'll deduct that from the main fee. So if you even take it away from me, at least I can pay for my staff. I can pay for my time.
Exactly.
I lost more than 50% of my clients when I started doing that. Because they're like, oh shit, we can get free work from all these agencies. They've got 100 interns that are doing free work for them, right? And they're okay with that because they've got so many other jobs. So we tailored it down. We lost a lot of clients, but then we just filtered it to good clients. And they're more than happy to give us that 10% up front because they know we're going to do the work for them.
Exactly.
I mean, so,
you know, if you're dealing with good client, legit companies, ones that understand the value of good design or, you know, high quality work, or things that, you know, anybody can do. Like, anyone can say, hey, I'm going to put a proposal together, right? But it's the design element, it's the craft work, it's the expertise that, you know, comes with a long, you know, many years of experience, many years of success, and being able to develop your own personal brand too, right? On top of all that, I mean, that's kind of where there's that separation, right? And good companies will see that, and they'll say, okay, we're willing to put that kind of money down because this person or this company or whatever has consistently been able to produce, right?
And the speed of efficiency of everything. There's no other uncles coming involved. You know. I mean, but again, that Guanxi thing's a super important thing in China. It is all about face. And it is all about like having that connection. And I think how I got those connections is I started. I went to Taiwan in 2000 with Avex Records. I got sent over with the manager, and then he was just trying to pimp me off to different record labels. So I was just kind of like new to the music business. I've been DJing for many years. I wasn't really fucking with record labels. I could write music. I was already doing TV on Channel V. And then he was just like, he was literally pimping me from Sony to BMG to here and that. And they were sending me these 60, 70 page contracts in Chinese, and they kind of knew I couldn't read Chinese.
Oh, shit.
So I was kind of like, looking
sign
at
your life
and,
away.
he's saying, sign. And these are like 10-year contracts. And I'm thinking, it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Like now everyone signs 10 years and they're just really crazy. But they didn't realize that my father, after a few of his different careers, he decided to study law. And he's an academic scholar, so he studied the entertainment law, pharmacy law, everything kind of law.
Nice.
So his way of saying, well, he's a traditional Chinese man, so he doesn't really say, I love you, son, and give you a hug. But his way of saying I love you is like, send me that contract, let me review it for you. So these major record labels didn't know I had that ammunition behind me.
The secret weapon.
And he'd just go through it and just rip it apart and send it back, and they'd look at it and be like, yeah, no, we can't sign this guy. he knows too much about it. So the manager was getting pissed. He's just kind of like, oh, I'm going to lose my meal ticket here. Because he was just literally like, oh, that's what he wanted from me.
Yep. Well, yeah, because I mean, he gets you signed, then he gets his contingency fee or whatever, right?
Yeah, and I was young and naive. I didn't know the extent of the deal. He would have probably signed 80% of my royalties to him.
Oh,
all this
probably,
stuff.
yeah.
I didn't know. I was 20 something, right?
Yeah.
And then I met a pretty famous celebrity there, this girl, and we just within a week started dating, and then within 2 weeks I moved in with her, and she's like a massive star. I didn't know who she was. Like that's why I think she liked me, because I didn't give a fuck about celebrities, and they all knew that because I had my club in China the 2 years before that, and all the celebrities, Quentin Tarantino, Oliver Stone, everyone would come there. It was like the Viper Room of Beijing, where everything went, right?
Yep.
So, but I never talked. Like whatever I saw, whatever was happening there, I just was like treating everyone like a normal person. So that's where it made a lot of artists want to work with me.
Yep.
Oh shit, you're DJing? Maybe you want to write a track with me? Oh, let's do that. So it kind of all went along. Then a month later, Avex Records from Japan just kind of hit me up personally. Yo, we want to work with you. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of turned off by the whole music thing, you know, and it's all this melancholy, like Taiwanese pop and Chinese pop. At that time, it wasn't really much dance music. It was rock,
it was more
pop. The pop is not even like pop. It was like everything was a sad song.
Like sad love songs and shit,
love
right?
song.
Yeah,
Everything was a love song.
Yep,
And I'm like,
yep.
shit. If you want me to get in this game, I want to change it up. I want to put some house music, some breakbeat. Like you know, they looked at me and they're very progressive. Avex is a big progressive record. They had a label called House Nation, which was like all these cool Japanese female DJs and just doing cool stuff, trance. They had their own club. So they're like, what do you want? And luckily, the girl I was dating at the time, her team advised me on a few things. So I was very fortunate that they helped me. And they just said, just do a 1 year, 1 album deal with option to sign on for other deals, but you're free. Own the royalties. They gave it to me. It was like, what? After that, no. Most people kind of clued up and they're like, we're gonna sign this guy for 10 years.
Yeah, right. We're locking him up.
Yeah, we're gonna invest this much. If he doesn't make it after his first album, he's gonna work for us. Even if that album doesn't work, he's gonna work in the office writing songs for the next artist.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. You owe money to record labels. Like everyone's hungry in China and in Asia, right? And you're good looking, and you can write a song, but you can't act. You need to be a triple threat. They need to make revenue off you from everything, right? So a lot of these artists would come in, they'd invest a couple $100,000, the album would come out, wouldn't do so well, and then you'd find them just sitting, like they've got to pay off their debt, so they're still working. It sucks for a lot of people.
That's crazy, man.
You know, so now
can you imagine what a slap in the face that would be? Like, I mean, you were successful, so I don't think you experienced that, right? But can you imagine?
I saw it. With
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can you imagine, someone like one of your buddies or whatever, right? Like maybe they had like an album that maybe a one-hit wonder or something, right?
Yeah.
And like that one song went, but then everything else just kind of shit the bed. And you see them sitting behind a computer or whatever, you know, like
it's tough. I mean, we started a label in '97 called Party People Committee. And it was the first dance label in China for electronic and hip hop. And one of my boys that was coming up, amazing writer, composer, producer, rapper. He can rap in Chinese, English, and even in German.
Oh, nice!
Like awesome, Young Kin, his name is. When that happened, they promised him to release his album and mine at the same time, a dance and a hip hop one. They went with mine, and unfortunately, he didn't get it. But he worked it. He worked and pushed me, and then you could see it. He wanted it. Everyone like, oh, shit, it's my time. I've been working so hard at this shit, and I'm good, I'm talented, but you're young, right? He just flipped the switch. He just said, you know what? I'm still young and I'm fucking great. I'm gonna go get my MBA. And then everyone looked at me going, you're gonna fucking own a record label one day. Now this guy's like moved to Boston, still writing music, has a flipping house company, a real estate agency, killing it. You know what I mean? So he turned it into a positive. But a lot of other people just get depressed and be like, shit, man, I was good at that. And then I've got, that just shows you your character. You've just got to fucking keep going, man.
Absolutely, man.
You'll get that break, but it's just tough.
Well, and it's one of those things, it's like, whether it's the music business or whether it's like film and TV or this shit or anything you do, right? Like it's not about how many times you fall or get kicked in the face or whatever. It's about how you respond to that, right? It's like, how do you get up? Do you get up and say, okay, that was a fucking speed bump, I'm gonna get over that shit and move forward because this is what I want to do?
Yeah.
Or does it happen so many times where you're just like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should shift gears a little bit. You know, maybe this passion of mine is more of a hobby, right? Or for whatever reason it's not working, go the other route. You know?
The girl that was like, we had did my album in 07, and we had an artist coming from Taiwan, but she was a good friend of mine. She's like, yeah, cool, I want to jump on your album. It's the first solo album in China for dance music. I'd love to be part of it. Then her mom, being the manager, found out that we were under kind of a bigger label. She saw some dollar signs. And we couldn't afford her at the last minute. She's like, I'm so sorry, man, but at the end of the day, the managers get in there and we can't do anything. We can give you a mate rate, but that's about it. It's still expensive because she's a big star. And we had the studio booked and we only had 1 month to use. And a friend came in and said, look, there's this girl. She's still currently signed to a 10-year. She's still got about 4 years left on that, but she hasn't been doing anything because she got screwed over by the record label. But she can come sing vocals on you. Just, don't really mention her artist name because her artist name is still owned by the label, right?
So do you put like her actual name, or do you just anonymize it?
Put her actual name because she had an artist name, but we put her actual name. And then we did that and she killed it. She came in the studio, I gave her the song, the lyrics, and I just said, you know what, just keep record on. She nailed it. I didn't even record the second take. We just edited over it. I didn't. Wow, this girl is great. And I'm like, I have 4 more songs with female vocals. Could you do this for me? No worries. I'd love to do it. So she smashes this out. Then she goes kind of dark for a while. She's still doing music. She's playing in club gigs with her little band and stuff. Just, keeping it going, keeping her passion. Once that 4-year contract lifted, there was record labels waiting to start. She had her own, she was just like boom, and then now her name's Tia Ray. I'm not sure if you heard her. She's massive now. She's massive. And she just stuck through it. But she could see how hard that is. You're stuck when you've got all these opportunities and you can't get out of it. But she waited, and now she prevailed, and she's killing it. Dude. So respect to her, and thank you for her coming on my album.
Shout out to Tia Ray, man.
Yeah, that's it. But
respect.
It's the industry. And obviously now it's become so big that they got all the what is it? Those multi-big groups with like 10 guys or the Korean
like
bands,
BTS for example, like 8 dudes or something like that.
And then obviously before it was Japan, Taiwan would follow Japan, so they were the trendsetters, and then China would follow Taiwan, and now Taiwan's kind of fading out a bit. They're still good. They still got their stars, their mega stars. But now China's started to create their own culture with hip hop. And hip hop is it's becoming huge. It's huge, but they're creating their own culture, which is great because it was more of a copy before.
Oh, of course. Well, that's kind of what China does, though, or they've done. Everyone thinks, copycat China, but a lot of what they've done with that opening is like they just haven't they haven't experienced a lot of these things. So a lot of it's like bringing this stuff in, kind of learning about it, and then taking it and making it their own.
Yeah, right. But it could be done so wrong in so many ways, right?
For sure.
But at least now they did it that way. Then I think the government saw it was becoming too adapted from the American or Western hip hop culture in ways of like maybe they were worried it's kind of getting too out of control. So they kind of banned it for a minute, which is really crazy, right? Who bans like a band and stuff? But they banned it and then they kind of cleaned it, right? So they cleaned it in a way. So now the guys that are on these big shows like China's Got Hip Hop or like these kind of big shows, they're now seen as like the ambassadors of clean hip hop.
Well, right, because when they banned it, it was a couple of years ago. It was like the China's Got Hip Hop show or whatever, right? Like there was, I think the winner was like singing about like, I don't know, drugs or gangs or whatever it was. Like, who knows whether he like actually meant the words that he was saying or whether he was just taking the influence from Western hip hop culture. But it was something like that, and China's like, drugs, nope. Banned. This is bad for our culture.
Yeah.
We don't want anything to do with hip hop. And yeah, you're right. Who does that? But
it's hard because hip hop is an expression of that, right? Like
Right.
of what you want to say and the street, you know, kind of
Right.
thing, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think that, you know, they've got now the commercial pop hip hop
Mm-hmm.
where they kind of just keep it a bit more tame. They go on the edges of things.
Mm-hmm.
But has made the underground scene so much stronger.
Mm.
So you got the clubs that are doing like these big nights and the tours with the hip hop groups, and they're still hardcore and good because I think like, they do it more like online, where it's not on TV. When it's on TV, when it hits TV, it has to have that little bit more edge. You know, it's a bit more cleaner.
Sure.
But that's good because it created this whole subculture that's becoming very popular. And you can see like you go to Chengdu, and you'd swear you'd think you're in Mexico. Like everyone's kind of tatted up and
Really?
like they've just adapted that culture, the style, and they've got their own fashion brands that they're using, and they're walking around with the pitbulls and all this kind of stuff. But it's that, and they've got all the girls that follow them, and it's this kind of thing, and it's more of a fashion thing. So that's their lane, and then they've got, you know, everyone's subculture is becoming more defined, and your crews are becoming more defined.
Nice.
Electronic music, you know, all this kind of everything's got a scene now. Yeah, a solid scene, a money-making scene now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Wow, that's crazy. I've never been to Chengdu, man. Like that's one of the places where like I really wanted to go when I was over there, you know, on a consistent basis, and I just haven't made my way. I think I'm gonna get back there soon. So back
It's
there
good.
soon.
Yeah,
Chengdu's supposed to be really cool. I mean, that's
Cool
where
city.
the pandas are, right?
Yeah.
It's like kind of mountainous. It's like. I mean,
Spicy
it's just a
food.
small city of what, 15, 20 million people?
Yeah,
Something
I mean,
that.
it's just a small one.
Just a small city.
Yeah.
Spicy food. I mean, that's why I love
Yeah.
Chengdu. That's my favorite food is like the spicy hot pot. You know, mala, xiangguo.
Oh, it's spicy.
You know.
Yeah, you got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've met so many Chengdu girls like, oh Brian, they're like, can you eat spicy food? And I'm like, give it to me. And they're like, oh, they're always so impressed. I'm like, yeah, it's just, you know.
And because they're so beautiful too. So when they say,
Right.
"Can you eat spicy?" and you're like, "Yeah," and the next day you're kind of like, "Yeah," to your assistant. I think you need to cancel my meetings today, or just keep me close to a toilet.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh man,
I'm gonna be in a bit of pain tomorrow.
That Chengdu spice is always a good idea coming in, but it's never a good idea going out.
It's a tough one. It's a real tough one. Yeah. I mean, there's other food there,
Yeah.
people, but like it's just you gotta definitely try this place.
That's funny. You were saying earlier you've got the best-selling
Yes.
dance album of all time
So
in
in-
Taiwan and China. Is that what that is?
Yeah, Taiwan was about 2002.
Yeah.
When I was with Avex.
Uh-huh.
So they gave me that idea.
Yep.
I could have gone with, so many options, but I thought, well, I'm playing house music, and house is kind of new in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Breakbeat hadn't reached Taiwan yet. So like finger licking, Stanton Warriors, so Adam Friedland, like it was just kind of really cool.
Yeah.
New school breaks.
Yep.
Basically, it's funky and it's got beats and it's just got vocals, and so I was doing like 3 turntable sets in clubs, and it's just mixing it up, mashing it up. So the album itself is it's an EP of my Isle Formosa, which was the first a dance song with a music video for an artist in Taiwan for dance music.
Nice.
In that category. And then the second CD was full live 3 turntable breakbeat mix for an hour. And then the third one was a live house mix of some of my favorite artists in the world, but house
Nice.
music, funky house, vocal house, classic house.
All of this would be called EDM now.
Well, yeah, I mean electronic dance music.
It kind of rolls
but
everything
back
into one,
then, like, and still to this day, but we had styles. Okay, that's a techno DJ, that's a
Yep.
breakbeat DJ, that's a trance DJ, or that's he's
Jungle.
a jungle drum and bass. Everyone was defined. Or like this guy's a bit more versatile, like Carl Cox. He can play everything.
Yep.
He's known as a techno DJ, but the guy will go and fucking smash the classics of the house or hip hop.
Yeah.
It's more about being versatile. But as time went on, and I think just society dumbing down into things and just needed things more simplified.
Yep.
People came up with, let's just call it EDM. But that EDM came up with that whole like that ultrasound or that old, like it's more of that very commercial EDM.
Right.
It's not techno, it's
Right.
not trance, it's not this. I don't know what it is. It's noise to me. But everybody fucking jump. I mean, there's no talent in that. I like
Yeah.
to see a DJ that actually produces something, or like
Right, right.
their sets are not programmed.
Right.
so I kind of went a little bit disappointed in that culture. But then a good friend of mine that does some pretty big festivals and owns clubs in around the world, he basically was just like, look, it's still a business.
Yeah.
People are into it. It's like, fuck, how do I flip the switch? I'm definitely not going to DJ this stuff.
Well, right, because if you're not feeling the creativity of that or the creation of that, I mean, you can still...
You can flip it.
You've been in the business for years, right? I mean, you can still flip that that mindset, right? And still, rather than being in the creativity side of it, you can be more on the like promotion or
be just more of us be behind the scenes in the tech.
Because
I have a tech company, right?
Yep.
So we were originally using those for high-end events and projections and mapping and stuff like that. So we're like, why don't we just design the festivals and give tools to these EDM DJs?
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Like, even though I don't like the music, but hey, why don't we make it more visually exciting?
Still help create the experience.
Right? So if you look at it like Ultra and all that, they started a bit more, they went really big with it. Tomorrowland, big EDM sound. But then they started adding all the different stages. Carl Cox has Renaissance in there, which is doing more techno. So then it's obviously like people are, for the first few years, they're listening to the EDM, but then they'll venture over to that stage. And they're like, oh, this is all right. So then they're slowly changing, and you can see it in the scene that it's moving. People are kind of like steering away. They want more quality in techno, or like they want more trance, or they want more this. So just giving them, the promoters giving them more options is better. If it's just giving them one sound and dumbing down the whole world, this is what it is. And unfortunately, that's what happened in China. They didn't go through transition. They just went from, oh, let's just stop all house and techno in most of the big clubs now and just put in these mainstream, because he's number one, that must be the music right now, or number two, and that's what the sound is. Noise. Right? So these clubs just followed it. But now you can see it's been going like that for a couple of years in China. They're slowly slipping in every now and then. They'll throw in a really good techno DJ, a really good underground DJ. And people are like digging it. They're feeling it. Oh, this is good. I don't have to just stand there and throw my hand in the air,
right?
Like I can actually groove, I can actually feel it, kind of thing. So it's good. But yeah, and obviously the DJs are all programmed, so they like the big festivals, and I get it, because you're paying so much money for the ticket, and the DJ needs to know when the fireworks is going to go off, and needs to cue, and everything's queued up, and so it's very kind of rehearsed. But that's what like a normal concert is anyway. Like if you went to Madonna or whatever, you're paying that. She's live, but she knows exactly her cues. So that's how the big EDM DJs, they're mostly cued DJs. So last year in Macau, we designed an EDM festival called Jigsaw. Some big names, Steve Aoki, all those guys were up there.
Nice.
But what I noticed is from the rave days back in the day, the DJ would never stop. It would be 12 hours of non-stop music. The DJ would just go into play on, and each DJ knew their time. If you're a warm-up, you're a warm-up. If you're 10 p.m., you're 10 p.m. Don't bang out music like it's 4 a.m. A lot of the DJs in Asia, in China especially, I'll be doing my main set at 1 a.m. and a new DJ would come in and he'd be like, shit, I'm gonna bang a 3 a.m. set out before Chozie goes on. And I'm just like, dude, you're killing me here, mate. You know what I mean? Like, so that's where it came into. Most DJs will have their warm-up DJ tool with them, because they know this guy's going to warm it up well. And it's respectful to be a warm-up DJ for someone. Or if you're closing after someone, you close out for them.
It's like an opening act in like the comedy stage or the band, whatever. A
lot of bedroom bangers, a lot of the kind of younger DJs that don't get that yet. It's a transition. It takes time. So this festival had 7 big name DJs, and each one of them had like a 10 to 12 minute gap between each show for changeover. I'm like, you know what, man? Let's keep the flow going. But how do we do that? Because they've still got to do the changeover. So I kind of set up a whole hologram system, and I had two DJs on the left and right, DMC scratch styles, and we produced a technology where when the DJ scratches, we've got a camera on her hand, and she can control the 8-foot high hologram. So he or she's scratching.
Oh, really?
I'm in the middle on drum pads. So we produce these 10-minute, 12-minute segment shows. So the audience would just see this flow going through, then the next DJ would be ready, and then goes on. So there was this also interaction of immersive experience, because I think people are getting bored at these big festivals now. Like it's the same thing.
It's the same shit.
The same DJ, or same DJs at these festivals, but like they're just reversing their sets around, or the next DJ is playing something similar or something like that. So I think now people just need more interaction. That's why bringing more technology into the shows is very important these days. People are now getting smarter. I think it got dumbed down, and now it's getting smarter because they're getting so big.
Well, it's kind of like it gets dumbed down because that's, as much as I hate to say it, but it's kind of like you bring it down to a level where a lot of people can understand, right? And a lot of people can just easily get it. then they come in, and then as they get used to it, then you can start getting a little more nuanced with it or whatever, right? Getting a little smarter about it. Do you have? Can you show me something like?
Oh yeah, I can pull up those videos. I'll give them to you. Yeah, we can send some links up. And
sure. No, I'd love to check some of that stuff out.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So this Jigsaw.
Yeah, that was in Macau. So it was the second year. So we were
when was that?
That was December 9th last year.
Oh, so
9th.
a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were not the selector of the artist. We were the design team and the production team. Nice. So we came up with this. I've always had this idea of designing a rave, but in a super high end concept. So the VIP areas were like made out. They looked like KTV rooms. Like they were made out of velvet, and they had all this crazy stuff. And you had your own bar in each one. And so on the main stage, on the left and right, I built 2 60-meter VIP booths built into the stage, so you're on the same level as the stage, but you can't get in. Like you've got a glass barrier between you,
but you're like,
you can't get into the stage, but you're that close. Nice. And they went for 1 million renminbi each table, and they were the first tables to sell out. This, in Asia, whenever you got the highest table, it sells out the first. Wow. And you can have, I think it was 70 guests. Wow. Came with drinks, came with girls, came with it's Macau. Dude, came with came with everything. So they sold out. You had those, and then it went down into different tiers. So you had like then the I think it was the 800,000 and the 500,000 and the 4, then 2, and then 1 and 40,000, something like that. So, but it was designed. It was in the Venetian Convention Center. So it's like massive.
Oh, dude,
massive,
the Venetian's huge.
It's the biggest casino.
So big.
I think it's the biggest hotel in the world or something like that.
It might be. Yeah,
13,000 rooms or something.
Yeah, it's huge.
The convention center is massive. So we were like, I wanted to feel like a rave because that's where my passion comes from.
Yep.
But like you wanted to give it that super high end service.
Yeah.
So we went in and we just did this crazy design and made it all cool, and it was cool, man. People were just like digging it. But it had that rave feel. Yeah. The technology had the holograms and the lasers and the LEDs all over the place, and interactive tables for ordering drinks and stuff like that. Wow. So it was cool. So we're just trying to take that technology to another level.
Yeah. I want to back up a second. I just want to explain, because a lot of the listeners are Western, so maybe they haven't been to China. So I want to explain a couple of things real quick. So first, he's talking about selling a table for 1 million RMB. That's Chinese. That's the Chinese currency. If you rough conversion is probably about 200,000.
Yeah, let me check.
Ish, 200,000 US, something like that.
Yeah, well,
143,000 for one table. All right, that's that's ridiculous. That's ridiculously expensive. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is he's talking about how it's kind of KTV styled. All right, so KTV is not really a big thing in America.
Right.
Yeah, you might find it in a few spots. Like there's a couple of spots in LA, a couple of spots in New York. Really, where the Asian populations are, you might find a few here and there. But KTV, guys, essentially, like Americans know karaoke, right? The karaoke that we're used to is we go to a bar and there's a karaoke night. So like one night there's a microphone and the words and like one person at a time sings in front of the entire bar, and it's like, in front of strangers and whatever else, right? KTV is just like that, except there's these buildings, like in China, there's these buildings all over the place with dozens of rooms,
like 300-400 rooms.
300-400 rooms in one building, and each room is its own karaoke place. Tables, couches, 3 microphones, just you and your friends or whatever it is. It could be anywhere between like 2 and like 20 people, something like that.
Yeah, you have big small rooms, and you got theme rooms.
You sit around, you play games, and you drink.
Oh, then there's even a free buffet. Food and everything. So like you got meal times. You can go out and eat.
And it's super, like it can be super cheap too. Like you can pay like $20 for like 4 hours, something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But KTV is a huge thing in China. So when he's talking about doing these super high end KTV rooms right next to the stage, separated by nothing but a glass wall.
Well, just kind of like a fence. Yeah,
well, whatever fence, it is.
Yeah.
I mean that's like. That's like the perfect thing for like that.
You've kept the KTV experience to the listeners very PG.
Oh yeah,
so there's
dirty KTV too.
So the KTV that I've designed off is not of the dirty side. It's just that you've got these crazy rooms that are, you're still paying in up to like $20,000, $30,000 on a night, and you go in there and it's like kind of very. I don't know, you call it gaudy. It's kind of like very velvet.
Gaudy's a good word
and
for it.
and very like chandeliers
like
and
a 1970s club.
So you've got that, and then you've got the more modern ones. But then it comes in with, you get girls. I mean, they come in and you can't sleep with them or anything like that. They're just hosts.
They're
just like a strip club, but
hosts.
they don't take their clothes off. They don't.
Right.
You can't grab them. They just come in and they drink with you and they sing for you.
Yep.
So it's more about a business entertainment. It's more about taking your clients there.
Yeah.
You take them there, it's a buddy thing. You just go out and hang out.
It's like the boys' club kind of thing.
It's a boys'
right?
club. But in saying that, you'd think like maybe the wives or the girlfriends would get angry, but in China they don't, because they have Yadian, which is the KTV for women, and Ya means duck, so it's a duck house. So chicken means the girls in those places. This is Chinese translations. I'm not trying to say that's what it is and disgust people, but it's just a translation.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is that the men have their place to go for entertainment, and I'm telling you, you can't sleep with them. It's just,
No, you don't.
They're hosts.
You don't. But the interesting thing about
And then the women have their version, so they go out and have their girls' night.
Right.
The guys go out and have their guys' night.
right, and then they get
You
these
know?
these male or female hosts, whatever. Like I remember, I've been to a couple of them too, and it's like right after you get situated in the KTV room, whoever works there, they open the door, and just this parade of women goes through.
Yeah, the mama son.
Yeah, the mama son opens the door,
Yeah.
and here comes this parade of women, and basically they're all pretty much wearing the same outfit, like the uniform, right?
Yeah.
But it's like this, like I remember seeing like this little like dress, like a yellowish dress. It was kind of form fitting at the top, and maybe like a ruffly thing. I don't want to say like a tutu, that's a bit extreme, but kind of like something like that.
Yeah, their version of sexy.
Or fluffier, yeah, whatever. Where it's a little fluffier on the bottom. This is what I'm recalling. It's been a year since I've been back, since I've been there. But yeah, so they bring out this parade of women, and you basically you point and you pick which one you like, and they'll hang out with you the whole night. They'll pour drinks
and
for
also,
you.
I mean, it might
they'll sing for you.
some people might be getting put off by this, but they're not there.
It's not a brothel. It's not prostitution.
They're there
it's
because they're working there.
It's just straight up entertainment.
It's completely legal.
Yeah.
Like they've got benefits. It's a job.
Yeah.
So but it's like it is a good place for business and things. But my point is, they're very extravagant, the rooms. So I wanted to take that extravagance, not the girls, but the extravagance to a rave, because I think the ballers that would buy that table are used to that kind of situation. So you have to demographic.
You got to go with what they like.
With their like. So I was like, how am I going to sell these tables for $1 million?
Yep.
Okay. These clientele are the guys that go to these kind of places. As soon as I advertised that style of that VIP booth, they sold out in like a minute, both of them. You know what I mean? It's like boom, done. And then all the VIPs sold out. So it's kind of like, all right, we're on the right track here in designing.
Yep.
So design has become a big thing for us for events and things like that.
Well, that's cool too, because like once you have success with something like that, I mean that concept, that's got to be pretty easy to duplicate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so then you're just like, okay.
But for us, we've done it once. We want to do the next thing again.
Sure,
so then we add more
yeah.
tech into it, or we add more. But I think it all comes down to service. I think the biggest thing lacking in festivals in China, no matter they've got the budgets and the people, the service seems to be a little bit off. So we've tried to spend a bit more time on training and investment on the service. So we tell our clients, you know what, maybe drop one of the DJs, then you got another couple $100,000 there.
Yeah.
Like let's put that into really good bar management,
Yeah.
into better drinks, into better food.
Yeah.
Because I think you need
real
that.
alcohol.
Real alcohol,
Yeah.
exactly, because there's a lot of fake alcohol.
There's a lot of fake alcohol in China.
Yeah. So just like trying to make the experience better for people, and I think it just goes with anything. It should be like that. If you're paying for something good, you need to be valued with what you pay for.
Nice. So are you working on anything else experience-wise right now?
Yeah,
Related to that stuff?
so I mean, people might be thinking, what was he talking about, experience and DJing? So
That's awesome. Like it's incredible stuff because
I'm trying to get to where the experience and the tech comes from.
Okay.
So I have a company called Oracle Projects International, and we started in 1995 doing rave parties in Sydney. So
Nice.
Chris Sefton, the founder, was just doing lasers. I was kind of guy breaking into the warehouses and bringing like the DJs and just doing these underground raves, right? And we were
Nice.
slowly making money as teenagers and turned it into a business. So we've started doing attractions, entertainment venues, and Chris started developing more and more technologies. Then we became into Asia. We built the Fountain of Wealth in Singapore Suntec City as an attraction. world's largest water screen projection mapping.
Yeah, nice.
And then we just kept going and going. Within 2005, Chozie Ma, the director of the Beijing 208 Olympics and China's claim to fame of most famous director in China, most respected.
He was the one that did the opening ceremony.
Opening ceremony.
Where there were like hundreds of people with like the blocks and stuff.
Yeah, the drums and everything.
Yeah.
They had 100,000 people for a year in a mock-up stadium outside of Beijing, training every day, and they did it for free.
Isn't that crazy?
They volunteers because they wanted to be part of it because it was 2008. The opening of China already opened it, but the world stage.
But come look at us now.
Yeah,
look how far we've come.
And they were so proud to just be part of this. I mean, they got food, they got accommodation, they got everything like that. They got that certificate that says they were part of the 2008. That's the cool thing about China. It's like camaraderie gets together when they need to get, and they do that. So he found out we had technologies of a dome. So inflatable dome as a venue.
Yeah.
So it was in concept stage for us because we were kind of like doing events in ballrooms and in convention centers. And we're like, we need to take this out of that traditional space. Like imagine we had a venue that could be immersive. So we kind of were like, on the drawing board. We blow it up with air, we project on it, and you can take people from one experience to another through mapping and projection. And it was on the drawing board. So Chozie Ma came to us. He heard of us, and then he's like, I want this for my press conference. My partner and I looked at each other. It's still on the drawing board. Like, can we do this? And I said, well, fuck yeah, we better do this. This is the biggest director in China. And I said, well, if we fail, we'll probably never be seen again, or like not be able to work in China.
Right.
Like, no, let's do this. So we invested pretty much all the cash we had, and we went and got the the material. We got the team to build it. We came in, put it up, went off. We mapped it. We built a technology that's aligned. It did an alignment for the projection. So what you project on the inside reverses on the outside.
Yeah.
And the next day it was on every newspaper front page. Press conference on CCTV, which is their main TV station there. And then we just started getting corporate jobs, car brands, fashion brands, and the brand just grew extensive, like huge.
Isn't it crazy? Like you have an idea, and like you might think, hey, we're not ready, but if you stumble across somebody that's got some, I don't know, power influence, I guess, for lack of better terms, and they say, this is what I want this from you. Like sometimes, or whether that or whatever, sometimes you just need that fucking nudge.
You just make it happen.
Sometimes you just need someone to like push you off the fucking tree branch. You're gonna fucking fly or you're gonna die. Yeah. Either way, you gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Because there's so many other hungry people out there.
Because if you're not gonna do it, somebody else will.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're doing good with that, and so getting back to what's coming up next with that company is obviously doing events and fashion shows and things like that, and also I wouldn't say money's drying up, but I'm saying like brands are being more cautious now, so they're not lavishly spending so much money.
Right.
So it's harder to get those big corporate jobs now, unless it's a global car launch like we just did for Volkswagen or something like that. But
I mean, a lot of these brands are getting smarter too, because again, their promotional and marketing stuff is developing too, right? So like like even with like tech startups in China, for example, like I swirled around that ecosystem for a couple of years. And a lot of those tech startups think, hey, the best way to grow the company, get users or whatever it is just to make a big splash, spend a lot of money on advertising, do something to get the Guinness Book of World Records on something.
Right.
So your Guinness is always out in Beijing or wherever else. There's this big event, right? World record something. It's some of the most ridiculous stuff you've ever heard.
It is. Yeah,
but they're like, hey, we get that, and then we've got there's press. We get a certificate, we can brag about it, all that stuff. Yeah. And they just throw money wherever they can because they feel, hey, we put this money out now. Eventually, someone's going to come in and start. The users are going to start coming on board, and they're going to grow their base. Right. I think a lot of the companies in the last couple of years, again speaking from the tech side, I think like a lot of them started realizing, especially with like the shared bike stuff, like Mobike and Ofo and stuff like that.
That was a big bubble burst.
I mean, they spent so much money acquiring. So, China kind of started the bike sharing concept, right? So now there's Lime bikes and stuff like that around here. China kind of started that concept, and it came this way. But the way China, the big ones, Mobike and Ofo are the two that I remember most. they grew by just spending shitloads of money, right, to get these users, and just boom, 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 and they're growing up and they're getting, they're getting these huge valuations, $1 billion, whatever it is, in like less than a year. From nothing to $1 billion in less than a year, just absolutely unheard of. And what happened? I think Mobike went under.
No, Mobike's still there.
They were struggling though. I mean, Ofa was kind of struggling too.
Then like, I don't know, 10 other. There's so many brands out there right now. But I think it's just they've consolidated, and now you can use. It was like you had to use that app for that bike.
Yeah.
But now you can use WeChat for all of them.
For all of them.
Yeah, and I think it's just come down to 2. The others have just failed out. But there's so many bikes, so they just decided like, well, you just consolidate it into one app, so everybody can use it.
Yeah.
Then they split the money or something like that.
But the thing of it is like, they started realizing, hey, we're gonna spend all this money trying to grow the business. May not be the most effective thing, so now you got to spend the money a little bit smarter.
Right.
I mean, with the bike sharing thing, just the last thought on that for me, anyways. I just remember like during the whole craze. I mean, sidewalk space is a premium anyways in Beijing. There's not a lot of sidewalk space.
Yeah.
But like once those bikes started coming out, I mean, you're just literally seeing piles of bicycles. Like people just don't even care about like.
They pile them on top of each other. And they live in the middle of the street.
Yeah, they pile on top of each other. It's just like a mountain of bicycles, and you just you can grab one if you want, and pay whatever it is, or you can try to like maneuver around and like. For the most part, you're walking around in the streets of Beijing.
Yeah.
With again 20 million people, 25 million people, all sorts of traffic and all that shit. And you've got to walk on the streets because there's no space on the sidewalks.
It's the worst during peak hour, like when people are getting back to the subways to go home. They want to get to the closest to the entrance of the subway.
Yeah.
So it's just piled up. But then they go on in the morning and then they come back in the afternoon. It's crazy. So in doing that, we had big brands, big sponsors, big money for events. But then obviously the last few years, China has kind of cleaned up a lot of things, and it's slowing down in different ways, and it was hard power. So when the 2008 Olympics was about the this is big, we're here, we can do anything kind of, but now it's more about the soft culture, the soft power. And if you can understand that and how to do that, you can still kind of maneuver very well in China. So we've taken our domes and we're going to go in the space of cultural and heritage. So education, incubation. Our plan was to do them around China, like Badaling, the Great War, Xi'an, Terracotta Soldiers, Huangshan, Yellow Mountain. And they're kind of education domes. So it's a flyover, 8-minute on how the space was developed and educate. And then that money would go back into incubator for that region. So we would find like the famous horticulturist or a young person doing something good for the environment in that area and educate. So we've been pushing that in China, but it was like really hard with the venues because they're such antique venues, if you call them. They're like the World Heritage things, so a little bit tougher. But we just got a lot of interest in Australia from it, and I'm half Aussie, so it works out really well. Because Great Barrier Reef has some problems with it, and it needs to be fixed. And the problem with the oceans, with the plastics and all the sustainability that needs to be addressed. Yeah, we're looking that we're going to open up in Australia and have 3 locations. We're first in Brisbane, and these are the same concept, but it will be more tailored to the environment and sustainability. And even our containers are all grow houses, grow containers. All the food for the cafe is all grown in the container. It's all organic. It's sustainability. All these kind of things, and raising awareness. So that's where that company's going. In one way. And the other way is we're building kids play centers. So we're opening this week in Shanghai, Playmaker. So you can go in the center, you can take your kid in there. They're mapped with cameras. They have a Fitbit kind of thing on their arm. It teaches the kid, like if he kicks a football or rock climbing, it will track them and it will show a light if they're rock climbing and say, it will remember your name. Oh, James, go left, be better for you. So the games will help you play your sport better or learn, and also social interaction. I think Chinese kids are a bit more stuck on their iPads when they go to dinner and things like that.
Oh, sure.
So this will give that game where if you play 5-on-5 mini football in the venue, when you leave you have your own avatar on your phone. So you can still continue that game with your 5 new friends, which creates play dates.
That's awesome.
Which creates parent interaction.
Yeah.
Which creates another time for them to come back, and when they come back to the center, it will remember your name again. Last week you scored this. Why don't you try to achieve for this? So it gives them a bit more exercise, and that just like that whole interaction and becoming more social.
Hell yeah. I think that's a big thing too. Like, I mean, Americans may not quite understand that, but so the underlying theory behind this with Chinese, for so long, there was that one-child policy, right? And so because these families were only having one kid, they were kind of raised like little emperors, or
Well, they still are.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, but there's a word in Chinese, I forget what it's called, but it's like little emperor, or little king, or little queen, or whatever.
Yeah, they get everything they want.
Just imagine being, only children in America. You guys were spoiled, right? I'm not. I'm one of 5, but so I had to fight for my food. But there's like every kid is like their only child, right? So they're just spoiled by their parents, right? They get all the best things and all this stuff. But so they're on their iPads all the time or whatever. But they're never really, unless they're like really encouraged to do sports or something like that. Not to stereotype, I hate that shit. But the vast majority, common theme that you see is that a lot of Chinese single children kind of tend to be, I don't want to say like in it for themselves, but they're in their own little bubble.
They're in their bubble.
They're in their own bubble.
Yeah, they get drilled at school. It's a very hard system for them. It's good because they're really strict in the schools, and they teach them at what they need to be taught at. But yeah, when they leave the school, they'd rather just be on their iPad or just go in their bubble because the grandparents the grandparents take care of them while they work. The parents are working, and they just run rings around the grandparents.
Oh, for sure.
The grandparents just go along with it.
Yep.
Now it's opened up so everyone can have more kids, and they're getting younger, and everyone's they need that more interaction. But yeah, just having these centers where they can
getting them to do something where it's combining their interest with the stuff on the iPad,
it is,
gaming and stuff like that.
It's an iPad game, but in a live setting, like in a huge space where they can climb that rock wall, but then it would light up and teach them. Oh, put your hand there, and they think it's just fun, but it's actually teaching them.
Yep.
So then they find themselves actually in a real rock climbing center without the light, and they didn't realize that they got it subliminally from that, right?
Nice.
So we're just trying to use a lot of and I think it's also because we're getting older, and then my partner had a daughter recently, so he's flipped the switch on like, yeah, we don't really want to do clubs anymore, and I'm like, yeah, we've done clubs all our life, we can still design them, but that means we're just designing it from afar. We're not. I mean, we make sure it's all teched out. But like running a club these days, I have no interest. It's just in China, it's very tiring. You as an owner, you should be there pretty much almost every day. Drinking with clients, keeping them there. So again, lots of drinking in China.
There's lots of drinking in China.
Lots of drinking. But
Lots of drinking.
So we just kind of like taking out in that space and then touring it and bringing it to the world and just kind of educating through it.
Nice.
Leaving some kind of footprint, a healthy footprint and a legacy. But why I'm out here is...
Why the hell are you here, man?
So just to backtrack a little bit of how I met the guys I'm here partnering with, is I have a VVIP. See, here comes down to another hat of what I do. I have a VVIP travel business, and as I was DJing and touring around the world in my younger days, I didn't really get to enjoy the cities because you'd fly in, you'd DJ, and you'd leave. And there's a lot of... I'm really into travel and like culture and food. Big thing about food, and just like homing out, broing out with like locals. And I was like, damn, I really wish I could go back to those cities. So as the career went on, I'd say to promoters, you know what, pay me less, but give me a few more days in your city so I can hang out. And then doing that, you'd meet more people, and I was very lucky to meet a lot of high-profile people in my club that I owned in Beijing, Susie Wong. And it became like a thing where I just keep going back to people's homes and different cities every year. And then on my WeChat, which is like the Chinese Facebook, I'd post, and Chinese fans and Chinese high net worth individuals would start contacting me and saying, yo, we want to go to these places. You think you could put it together for us? I was like, yeah. So I tailored a few, and I was like, I'm still paying. Why don't I just charge these guys like a service fee or a tailoring fee? And it just became big. And then I started contracting like a couple of families, and now I've got a few corporate clients, but we tailor it for people we know. There's no advertising. It's kind of word by mouth.
So this is the VVIP,
it's
experiential
VVIP,
tourism, something like that?
It's tailored by Chozie Ma. So it's just me and the client. My team will interview them. What do you like to drink? What do you like to eat? What's this and that? So basically the client comes in, flies in, private jet, yacht, whatever. They land, they get to go to the best restaurants.
So what would be like a place that maybe you've taken people to, just to kind of get an idea?
One of my dear friends, best friends, Golvin Friedland, that own Ivanhoe Films, Crazy Rich Asians, they own that. So we spent a lot of time together holidaying and going around. And they own a property in Positano, Italy. They purchased Franco Seffarelli's home, Romeo and Juliet, the most famous music composer in Italy.
Yep.
And they acquired that home and turned it into a private hotel. So we started going there about 7 years ago, and it's like my favorite place to go in summer. Every summer I'm there, and that's a place that the Chinese would go. It was never on their radar before. And then they see that, oh my God, this is like so different, but we can't speak the language, but we really want to go there. So I just thought, well, I'll tailor it for you. Yeah. We got everything for you. You got a translator, or I'll go with you, and I'll have my holiday at the same time. When you leave, I'll stay on and do my thing. And yeah, there would be, there would be the yachts there. There would be everything. So that's one place. Then we have experiences in Thailand. We have a property there. We have Japan. We take them to New York, Australia. So it's wherever. Russia, we have an office now.
Nice.
The Russian experience, so it's anything that they want, anything goes kind of thing. But it's more about connecting and networking. So
yeah,
it's actually like we will tailor it. So if you're coming into Italy, we'll think who else is there during that time, who could benefit your industry or your career or meet. If we're in a city or a country where the head of state or someone the leader in that industry is there then you want to meet them. We'll make it happen just over a casual dinner. Just like, let's have a dinner and drinks. And then if they want to take that on, they take it on. So it's a bit networking thing.
Yep.
So that's how we came about building this company. And then, it started doing really well, and that's going on. Traveling. So this year in August, we're in Italy. A boy of mine that used to own the box in New York, Cordell, I met him 8 years ago in New York. He wanted to build a vape pen. So he's like, we don't know anyone in China. That's where they're made. Can you help us put this together? Just came out. We started developing it. Unfortunately, everything happened with the pens right now, that business is kind of on hold.
Yeah.
So, but he wanted to introduce me to his partners that invested in that, and also do a company called Greenerways Organic. So that's an American company, started in 2014, family business, and it is a 2-in-1 sunscreen and insect repellent, all organic. So apply it once, and it's also a bug spray and a bug pouch. So you open it up, put hot water, no mosquitoes will bite you in a radius of 100 radius.
Oh, nice.
For 7 days. And they have aromatherapy oils, shampoos, underarms, all organic stuff. So they came out on holiday to Italy, and we were just hanging out, having dinner, and I'm like, why the hell are you not in Asia? Asians have a DNA where mosquitoes bite them. It's in their DNA. And also, majority of the girls don't want to get tanned. They like to have pale white skin, and they don't want suntan. So this would be perfect. Yep. Like, well, yeah, of course, ideal. We'd love to get in the market, but they're actually smart. We don't know anyone there. We don't know how to get in there, and we want to protect our brand. We're a family business. So I said, I would be more than happy to explore this with you. So we started exploring it, and we found that there's a good synergy, and we're going to bring this brand into Asia. So we're going through the right channels of trademarking and setting up the company and all that stuff. Not just going to try to flood it in there. We're going to research it and get it out there right. So we're here exploring that, but one of the owners of the company is also heavy in the CBD and THC space, in developing new concepts, filling packaging, all these kind of things. And now Thailand is 100% legal for CBD. Marijuana is decriminalized in Thailand for medical marijuana. It is going in that direction. Yeah. So 100% CBD, and that was a few months ago.
Wow.
So you got to imagine like
Thailand.
Drinks, creams, things like that. So I'm just like, wow. China is now CBD legal in certain aspects, but you can't take it in. But it's like this gray area.
China.
Yeah, it's
really?
THC is completely illegal.
Well, yeah, it's
100% illegal.
Completely
That's
illegal.
like a no-go.
Yep.
Right? But CBD is now in the bill where it's going to be, I don't know it's definitely not ingestible or edible, but I think it's going to be more like cosmetic and medical. So I'm already trying to jump on this bandwagon of like, let me get it into creams. Yeah. At least into the sunscreens first, because it can it will heal. And then also into like the creams for face creams, anti-wrinkle creams.
Right.
So we're looking into that, and that's a big side of the business that I really want to explore.
Nice.
China is the largest grower of hemp in the world. They have the biggest farms in the world. Hemp was discovered in China, like in the whatever century. For the emperor, he was using hemp paper. The ropes in the Forbidden City were made out of hemp.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big thing. If you go, you can check the history of thousands of years of hemp.
Yeah.
So they have the biggest farms there. But again, it's not being produced for CBD; it's for hemp, right? But they do know that CBD is a big market. So we're looking at it. It's not legal yet, but it's like that gray area where it's going that way. THC will never go that way, unfortunately. But yeah, Thailand is. So it's just like hitting both areas because definitely want to bring in the Greenerways, which is the sunscreen, the oils, the organics, and everyone is getting more healthy in China.
Yeah.
They've got money. The parents are getting younger, and as you said before, they do give everything to the grandparents, give everything to the kid. They want everything to be healthy.
Yep.
So if we can bring in this healthy brand, which we are number one in Costco in America, nationwide, we kicked off the shelves. We
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So for 2 years already.
You beat off.
Yeah, we beat off the shelves, and yeah, it's doing really well.
Beat off.
It's developing more and more with the products. Costco just opened in Shanghai.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just opened this year. Oh my God, it was a shit show. It was crazy. Like the people, it was like a concert. They had to bring in concert security because so many people rushed the store. It was like Black Friday or something like that.
Right. I mean, like you see enough people at like IKEA or whatever, right? But like just the concept of like I can buy this much stuff for this, like tubs of like I don't know, jelly or whatever, noodles or whatever it is that they want to buy there. I can buy huge ass packages of that shit. It'll last me a fucking month, and I can pay like a fraction of what it would cost.
It was crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're not in Costco yet in China or in China, but we're going for that path, and hopefully we can go through the Costco path because they are going to open more in China, and that would be a big thing. But we can go with Tmall, we can go with Alibaba, which is like Amazon and all that stuff.
Yep.
And just get it out there. But I'm also out here still keeping true to my music roots. So meeting up with good friends, recently with Freak Nasty, Danny Harrison, Serati, just a bunch of cool friends that I've known for a long time. Also, most of them met in Italy on one of my holidays, or met on one of the venues I use for my VVIP traveling. So it's just about reconnecting that network. I wasn't really going to get too much back into the music. I still DJ, and now it's a hobby, so I like it.
For sure.
It's great because I can choose my gigs, and I'll be like, I'm good.
You're out every once in a while. Like you're on like some, I think you're on like
do a lot of
cruise or something.
Yeah, I play every now and then, and I'm still a vinyl DJ.
Yeah.
So I stay true to that art. Every now and then I might have to go digital because I don't have the equipment, but I prefer the vinyl. And a good friend of mine, Trey Jan, he's the godfather of rock in China. He released the first kind of song on radio in 1984, and he's the one that kind of broke through and made music possible for people to listen to and express themselves and understand him. So like out of like a billion people, they probably all know Trey Jen, so it's a pretty cool guy and good collaboration. And he's very interested in doing a lot of remixes and collaborations, and his passion behind the rock is jazz and hip hop. So
nice.
I was like, well, you know what? I'm in LA, and I might as well utilize my resources and get to these contacts and see who wants to work together. And you were at my birthday the other night. Fire East Movement was there, and they're very progressive and cool band, and they just jumped. Would love to get on it. Within a week, they're already like sending files to each other, and there's a song being done, and they're going to help each other. So that cross-border thing. Yeah. I think a big thing. One of my hats is connecting people.
Oh, same here, dude. But I mean. The thing that's like really cool about it though is it's like border or not border, cross border. I mean, the cross border stuff is cool because otherwise people don't have that connection.
Right.
But it's just at the end of the day, it's doing cool things with cool people.
Yeah. Having
fun and hopefully make some money in the process, right? Like it's no stress, no worries. Like you find somebody, like you hit it off or whatever, and like hey. Like again, like me too. I'm a connector. I'm a networker, right? Just naturally. I hear something that maybe you're up to, and be like, oh, you should talk to this guy.
Definitely.
Or like I hear, this, that, or the other person. Boom, 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 boom. Constantly putting people in touch. In fact, I'd like to put you in touch with a friend of mine that's in China. He's American. He's Canadian. Excuse me. I think he's Canadian, but he's lived in LA. He's a stage, sound, and lighting guy. He's done it for films and stuff. I think he's with this company he's working with in Guangzhou right now. I think he's on pace to open. I think 100 clubs in the next year.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And they're all like, the big club thing. So that could be something even worth talking about.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Potentially.
design.
Yeah, for sure. There could be some collab
Yeah.
opportunities there. That's exactly the thing, right? Like you get this guy. He's like, oh, I want to do the hip hop jazz kind of stuff, and you talk to like Far East movement. Like, that sounds cool. Like, boom.
Yeah, there's that.
And then they're working on something, and
yeah,
chances are, maybe you don't get anything out of it, right? Like for me, a lot of times it's like I just do it because.
You know what?
Fucking A,
everything comes around, man.
Yeah, no, that's exactly
it. It comes back around. Like,
that's exactly it. It's like you're paying it forward.
I know that if I'm hungry one day, there's a bowl of rice for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
I fed a lot of people in my club with free tequilas, man.
Yeah, for sure.
If I need that rice, it's out there.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. And then now they're connected. So there's already 5-6 people connected. That's almost an album. If he has a new one, then I'll come in and say, look, you're going to do a China tour next year. Give me the contract to do all the tech for you. Why don't I make your stage more cool, and stuff. So that aspect. So it's just about reinventing the wheel, connecting, trying to make sure there's things are moving forward and there's cool things coming.
Yep.
So yeah, it's cool. So LA's been it's been good. I think I've been here for 4 weeks. In that time, I also went to Mexico for a couple of days, and it's really funny. So they're like, "What's your name?" Chozie, Chinese Aussie. They're like, "Okay." And then one of them looks at me and says, "Okay, so we call Chinese Chino, and we call foreigners Gringos. So how about we call you Chingo?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love it." And he's like, "Why don't you make a song out here, and just throw that Chingo thing in there, and make some kind of Mexican beat? I think it would be really interesting for you because that's a really funny name, and I think people will catch it."
Yeah.
And I was like, I started thinking, yeah, I should just fuck with it and make a fucking remix or something, or some kind of song.
Sure.
That would be really funny to have my Chingo name in Mexico. I mean, who knows? It could be a hit. No,
dude, you could be huge in Mexico, man. Good chance.
You just gotta have fun with it.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
And when people can laugh at it and you can see it as a funny thing too, it makes it so much easier and better,
exactly.
right?
For sure, dude. Oh man, fucking love it. Where you're heading out tonight, right?
Yeah.
So what do you what's going on? What's up next, man?
I got a nice 17-hour flight to Australia.
Oh, a little short one.
Yeah.
Is that direct or?
It's direct to Melbourne.
Wow.
I'm from Sydney, but I'm going to Melbourne for Christmas. I haven't been there for a couple of years, so I haven't seen mum and dad in a while.
Yeah.
But so as I mentioned, the ocean conservation. Well, I was focusing on ocean, but now we're gonna change the name to planet conservation. There's a lot more that needs to be addressed to the world and to the younger youth and education. So knock out Christmas on my business partner's farm. He has a horse farm, and just kind of sleep under the stars.
Yeah.
Get some good food.
Hell yeah.
Just be one with nature, and then go see mum up at Byron Bay. It's a beautiful place. Dad in Sydney. But along the way, see the locations where we want to put up the domes for the conservation program. And it's just fucking cold in Beijing right now, so I think I need to be somewhere warm. It's snowing there.
Cold. Is it snowing?
It's snowing.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it doesn't even snow much there. It gets cold.
Yeah, no.
It's fucking cold in Beijing.
It gets cold.
Desert, so a lot of times you don't see.
This year they got a lot of snow.
Really?
Maybe it's because they just had the air and style, and a lot of focus and cameras are on the Winter Olympics that are coming up.
Oh right.
So I think it's I don't know. They make it snow. That shit happens like that. Have you seen the skies out here? How everything's those chemtrails.
Oh yeah,
crossing?
yeah.
I mean, that's not a conspiracy. I've been out here seeing that. Seeing it going every day. Jesus, they're like, what are they cooling down the planet?
Right.
Anyway, it's another story. But
right on.
Australia for a bit, and then I'm meant to come directly back here to finalize some investments from here in New York, and bring out some of my Chinese partners to see the operation. But I've been living out this suitcase, and I didn't realize LA was gonna be. I got here just before Thanksgiving, so I didn't realize it was gonna be cold on Thanksgiving. It was cold.
It was cold,
and I didn't bring enough
40s.
clothes.
Yeah.
Now it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm preparing for I didn't want to bring my winter gear and this because I'm going straight to. It's gonna be 40 degrees heat in Australia. Celsius,
which is 120 Fahrenheit.
It's 40. Yeah. When I arrive tomorrow,
it's 115-ish, something like that. It's fucking hot.
Oh, this year in Australia is the worst fires and everything. You guys get it a lot, but we got hammered this year in Australia. Hammered, really bad. So yeah, I'm going from to that extreme. And if I yeah, I've got to. Then I've got to go. Maybe I've got to go back to Beijing to just get new clothes,
Right? Yeah.
or just buy new clothes when I get back here. But I'd probably be back end of January with some exciting news about the music. And catch up again then.
We absolutely will,
and then we have. I can't get too much into it, but it's in this really crazy space of the CBD and things like that. And yeah, if we're in the FDA approval stage right now, and we're going to get that very shortly, and I'll be able to talk to you about that. So stay tuned for that, because that's a game changer.
Hell yeah!
Because it's something that's not like, it's not a brand trying to compete with everyone else. It's something that's going to really help the industry.
Nice.
And it's also more of a medical apparatus, which is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Sports medicine and all this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's something totally different I'm not into. But as we were saying before, if the opportunity is there.
I also know people in sports medicine and sports psychology and stuff like that.
Well, then they're going to need this, what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes down to, I'm the kind of guy like you are. If there's an opportunity in front of me and I don't know it, but I have an opportunity to be part of it or do it, I'm going to quick smart and learn it.
Right? Absolutely.
I want to be part of it. It's a great opportunity.
Oh yeah.
And I've really enjoyed being down here in Venice too, because it's what a fucking melting pot this place is.
Oh dude, it's so many cultures here.
Oh man, it's so great.
Yeah. Oh no, I love it.
It's trippy.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, you go down have you been down the boardwalk?
I walk down there every day.
Oh, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, I just hang out with people when they're singing and just talk to them. It's great. Get some inspiration.
Yeah, exactly, dude. There's so much art down there, whatever, and some weirdos and stuff too. But there's all sorts of people down there.
Some great conversations.
Oh
with
yeah,
weirdos.
Yeah, I know. That's where some of the best conversations come from, man. Like people that you think might be the furthest out there, they're the ones that are thinking completely differently.
Yeah. I mean, some of them flow. You know,
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Right on, man. I think this is a good point to wrap it up. Feels pretty natural. Been a good chat.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything specifically you want to plug, like right now?
Just
we covered it.
I think we covered it.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop my links in there.
Yep.
And my Instagram. Instagram we don't really use much in China, but I want to keep it active and grow it here. So I definitely put that out there.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's using WeChat. I can put that link in there as well.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah. And then just stay well, people, and keep listening to this man.
Hell yeah.
He's killing it, and congratulations, man! You just hit like
I cracked
number
the top
90.
100. Yeah, number 90 in America.
Out of 800,000.
Out of like 800,000 podcasts, number 90 in America for documentaries, man.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
I can't even believe it.
We'll get into a travel one next time.
I can't
I'll
wait.
bring you out to Positano and you do it there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so that's the whole thing, right? Like the first couple of episodes were up in Seattle, right? I was talking to these like military veterans turned entrepreneurs up there. Down here, I'm talking to people that I know out down here. And then once things get rolling, we'll be bouncing to different parts all over the world, right?
Wicked.
World's the oyster, man, because, I mean, like you, I'm a global guy. I've got connections and people that are doing really cool things all over the place.
Awesome.
And I want to sit down and have conversations with them, man. That's all I want to do.
Respect.
But fucking Thank you. Man. Give it up for Chozie Ma.
You've been listening to Half the City with Brian Shinborn, presented by AB Media. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your friends, and leave a solid 5-star review to ensure these stories get spread far and wide. For more information, as well as to listen to other shows, including Relentless, a survivor's search for passion, purpose, and inner peace, and Beyond Relentless, be sure to check out 8bmedia.com. Thank you for listening.